fine. You gotta hold on to my hand.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaelyn. I'm a master's student at the University of Oxford studying history, and in the fall I'm supposed to be starting my combined PhD in history and African American studies at Yale. And today is the beginning of a work week in my life. If you guys did not watch my last weekly vlog, you may not know that I had to take on a full-time job since I've returned home from Oxford, and because of the virus outbreak, I am working on my degree remotely from California, and in order to help my family during this rather challenging time, I have taken on a job riding professionally again. I rode horses professionally before I started my undergraduate degree and have continued to ride freelance, but now I'm back to doing it full time in order to help pay some expenses and also to get out of the house and get a bit of a workout in. It is one of the only industries that is still operating because we're not having clients come in. We are keeping the horses worked and trained. So this morning I got up at about 6:30, made myself some breakfast. I had protein blueberry waffles with peanut butter and blueberries on top. And then I had a conference call with one of my clients. I work with her on a long-term basis, and I work with her on academic consulting, not just application consulting. So I had a meeting with her this morning just to discuss kind of the game plan and her current trajectory, because I help her review future applications, but also her writing and all of that. And I also responded to some emails. I got a couple inquiries about my consulting services over the last couple days, so I sent out a couple emails this morning and edited, and I'm currently uploading my video from yesterday to YouTube, which was a day in my life. And now I am gonna go ahead and put on my shoes and head out the door. So I'm gonna take you guys along with me for this work week in my life.
Before we lose our minds and roll for too long, it's gonna be a fire, it's gonna be a wave. Look at all this water, it keeps pouring up my face. It might be overwhelming. Oh, it's so overwhelming.
Hey everyone, it is a couple hours later. I got home and was just destroyed from riding today. My body is just slowly getting used to riding again, and I rode 7 today, so I was just a little extra sore. So I got home, ate lunch on the floor, and then took a shower and immediately went to go take a nap. And since then I have had dinner with my grandmother, and now I am back at my desk. I'm just gonna work up a to-do list and then do some planning. I had a couple other clients add consulting sessions for this week, so I just need to figure out how to make that work with my schedule. But now I'm gonna go ahead and just work on my plan, and then I'm going to work on my essay this evening and try to put in a couple hours on that. But I am just so exhausted. So I'm gonna put in a little bit of work and see how much I can get done.
Searching for an open door, I was looking for a piece of mind. It's a feeling that I tend to get.
Alright, so it's about 10 o'clock now, and I've been working for a couple hours, and I'm really happy with the progress that I made. I ended up reading this really interesting article about this plantation owner in Campbell County, Virginia, and he had a long-term relationship with an enslaved woman named Sylvia, and they had multiple children together. They had 4 children, and he manumitted all of them in and around 1801 and 1805, I believe. What's interesting about this case is that with the archive, we don't really have a first-hand account from him, we have all these court records of him going to the court and asking for the manumission of his children. I don't see a manumission account for Sylvia herself, but what's interesting about this is that historians typically have said that interracial sexual relationships between white slave owners and enslaved black women is that they happened in pretty much entirely in private. People were aware of it, but it generally happened outside of the public eye. But according to this particular record, people in his county were very much aware of his relationship with Sylvia and of their children. So it just kind of changes the historical narrative a little bit, which I think is kind of interesting, and what makes it interesting for this particular paper, which is comparing systems of concubinage, however historians wish to define concubinage. It's also kind of getting my wheels turning because I don't really ever move into the 19th century. Most of my work is kind of centered in the colonial period, and it's fascinating being able to see more legal records because a lot of the records that I would like to look at, unfortunately, were burned during the Civil War because I primarily focus on Virginia. So my actual source base is just slightly different. And so, I don't know, I just figured it'd be kind of nice to nerd out and tell you guys what I'm looking at because I know some of you guys enjoy it, and also this is supposed to be like a diary in a way, like a visual diary of my academic journey. And so it's kind of nice to be able to talk about the things that I am learning and grappling with, because I want to be able to look back on this time like when I'm a seasoned professor and when I'm teaching classes and whatnot, and just see the evolution of my thought processes and all of that, which I don't know, I just think it's cool. So appreciate anybody that stuck around me nerding out for a couple minutes, and I'm sorry this video is probably going to be longer because of it. So I got a huge chunk of my essay done, which is awesome, and now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call it a night, and I think I'm actually going to get into bed and do some fun reading because I don't ever get to do any non-academic reading. And I'm not trying to say that academic reading isn't fun, because as you can tell, I think it's really fun, but it's also nice to read something that I don't have to process, if that makes sense. I like reading fiction sometimes, and so I'm gonna go ahead, get into bed, and read a novel.
Won't rest until I make it right. Couldn't stand the thought of losing her before time had come.
Good morning, everyone. Today is now Wednesday, and I'm heading off to work. I read a little bit last night, which was very nice, and then I got up this morning and then just got ready for the day, and now I'm gonna head over to the barn, see how many I have to ride today, and then do some work on my essay. I also have a little bit of an update from the history department. They sent us a letter from the director, and I have a lot to say about that, but I am running low on time, so I'm going to tell you guys after work, so stick around if you guys want to know my opinions on how Oxford is handling the coronavirus situation.
In the dark I came undone. Oh, this house will belong to it, so you can make it out. So you can make it out.
Alright, so I just got home and jumped in the shower. I rode 6 horses today, but I got home and my grandfather, who was in the rehab facility after his stroke, was not responding to the nurses, so he's being sent to the ER at a local hospital, and my grandma's going to go meet him. So I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping that he didn't have another stroke, but we'll get some answers soon. I'm gonna wait and hear from my grandmother, and then I don't really know what to do because I need to get working on my essay, but it's also just really challenging given the circumstances. So if she needs me, I'll be there. But unfortunately with the coronavirus, we can't go see him. So it's just challenging. But I'm gonna take it one step at a time. I'm just gonna hope for the best. He's heading to the hospital. My grandma's gonna meet him. I am going to try to make the most of my time now and wait to hear what's going on. Hey guys, so it's about 8 p.m. I got back from work today and unfortunately, if you guys have been following my videos, you may know that my grandfather was in rehab after having a stroke, and then today he had a mild seizure, so he is back at the hospital. I was with my grandma when she got the call, so she went to the hospital and got to see him for a little while. So we're trying to figure that part out, and then in addition to that, it looks like I might not be getting paid for the job that I'm doing. So I have to talk with the people at work and see what's going on, because if I'm not getting paid, then I need to find something else that I can be doing to make some money to help my family, because I can't be riding and working full-time if I'm not getting paid. That all being said, I came home and my grandma went off to the hospital and I ate some lunch, took a couple hours off, and then I have been working on some kind of tedious tasks and now working on my essay. I FaceTimed with Liam for a little while to study together, and I think we're gonna do that later this evening. So we're unable to see each other, and because we both have work to get done, it's kind of a nice way for us to be able to hang out. And I highly recommend that if you are not able to see your significant other or your friends, that it actually helps get work done if you kind of do it in solidarity. So we just put each other on FaceTime and then mute unless we actually want to talk, but it's just kind of nice like having someone there because it kind of feels like a group study session. Just helps me stay motivated a little, even though sometimes it can be a little distracting, but you just have to be careful to stay on top of your tasks. But I'm working on my essay, and like I said this morning, we got an email from the history department, which is honestly infuriating is kind of putting it lightly. The university is basically taking the stance of carry on. They said that they would give some leniency to the word limit on the dissertation, but this is less of an issue for me, but I'd say more of an issue for other master's students. But we don't have sources. Like, I can kind of finagle a way to look at some sources online. I can use the Library of Congress, and I think that I have a project in mind. It's very far away from the legal aspect that I wanted to look at, but there's just not a lot I can do with the sources that I have. It's just a little disheartening, and the university basically saying, well, we hope that you can find a way to access an archive or a way to access a library. It's a bit unrealistic. They have closed the libraries at Oxford. Everyone's on lockdown. California has no libraries open, and I'm lucky because I have, in a way, my own library of my own collection of books, which I've accumulated over the years. But for the people that don't, I just don't know how they're going to do their projects. And they're still keeping the word limit pretty sizable. I don't know how we're going to write anything more than basically a term paper, because the access to the archives, the libraries, the support network at Oxford, the researchers, the librarians, all of those things are very important to doing research. The master's students at Oxford have filed a petition in order to have the department listen to our queries and hopefully handle it on a bit more of an individual basis. And I'm gonna message my supervisor and see what can be done for my project. I'm not super worried. If it's 10 to 15,000 words, I think I can manage to pull together a sizable paper. I'm just really disappointed because obviously this really sucks for everyone, and honestly, even with the stuff going on with my family, I'm in a much better spot than I know other people are, and I want to acknowledge that that is a significant privilege. But I took out thousands of dollars in debt in order to go to Oxford and to pay international course fees when I can't even be there and have no access to libraries, have very little access to the faculty, and being 8 hours behind means that I don't have any of the support or any of the resources that I would have if I were there. And while I understand that they may take out the accommodation fees, paying a sizable amount of money for my tuition for the term and having to essentially do this project on my own is just a little frustrating. So I'm gonna make a full-length video about this once I hear how they respond to the petition, because I think that this is going to be very important. And I think that how Oxford handles caring for its students is important, not just for my cohort, but for future cohorts. There's just a lot that I find a bit frustrating about the whole thing. Obviously, it's very different than the reality that a lot of people are facing, which is losing jobs, which is caring for sick family. I'm here just trying to support my grandmother as she's trying to help support my grandfather, and doing what I can to do my part for my community and for my family. And I love my research, but I've got to say it's really hard to focus on it when there's so much going on around us. The work that felt important 2 or 3 weeks ago feels so frivolous now, because I'm spending this time writing an essay, and what I feel like I should be doing is doing what I can to make money for my family and planning ahead and building up my business and all of that. And so it's just challenging, but that's what I'm going through right now. And I'm sorry for the long rambling video, which I'm sure is going to be immensely long, but I don't want to sugarcoat what's going on. I want to be able to talk about what's going on in real time, so that way I can look back on this and see what I made it through, and also so that if you guys are feeling discouraged or like your university is not hearing you, that we can kind of go through this process together. And I know some YouTubers have taken the stance of like, oh, I don't want to talk about the virus, I don't want to talk about the negative, but I'd rather people be real about what's going on and what they're experiencing, and I don't want to just pretend everything's fine and dandy when it's not, and when things are really challenging. And so that's my stance on it, and I'm trying to make the most of it. I'm trying to do what I can to help my family. I'm doing what I can to finish my degree, to make the most of this time. And I also want to be there for my viewers too. I've gotten a couple messages from you guys just talking about where you are in the world and what's going on, and I really appreciate it. I don't mean to dwell on the negative, because I think that this is also a huge positive. I've seen a lot of people come together. My cohort at Oxford has really banded together to discuss our circumstances with the department and with the wider university. And I think that that is tremendous. And I think that that's what academia should be about. It should be about coming together and fighting for the validity of our work and the validity of our time. So there is a lot positive, but I also want to acknowledge how challenging this time is as well. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on this essay. I want to get a pretty big chunk of it done this evening, and we're just gonna take it again just one day at a time. We're gonna get through it, we're gonna figure it out, I have no doubt. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm just gonna keep working. Hey everyone, today is now Thursday. I did not film this morning because I was in a huge rush, because I attended a online meeting on Zoom with the organization for graduate students in the history department, and we were discussing the issues that students are facing in their studies, not just master's students but DPhil students, and trying to figure out how the organization of students can write an open letter to address these issues and speak to the faculty as well as the wider university to try to help other students. And so it took up most of my morning, and then I went to work. And unfortunately, with the way that funding for people is going right now, the horse industry is also taking a hit because clients cannot come ride. So I don't know if the barn that I'm working at is going to actually be able to pay me, which is not their fault. I understand their stance, which is that they originally needed a full-time person to help out at the barn, to teach lessons and to go to shows, but right now, because they are not going to shows and clients are not allowed at the barn, they have to kind of cut costs and figure out ways to keep the horses going. But that basically means that I am preparing for the possibility of not receiving a paycheck for the next couple months. So I have said that I will still come in and work a couple days a week regardless of being paid. And I'm gonna talk to my boss next week to figure out what that looks like. But ultimately, I'm going to kind of try to figure out a plan to restructure my graduate work, my studying for the LSAT, work at the barn and whatnot, because I would like to keep my foot in the door and have the possibility of being able to compete if that is something that is going to be able to happen. But with the way things are looking right now, it seems as though we're going to be on lockdown for quite some time. So I said I would be willing to come in 3 or 4 days a week, but then the rest of the time I'm going to be focusing on my consulting business and on my own studies. So I went to the barn today. I rode 5 horses and hung out with the people at the barn for a little while, just the people that I work with, my coworkers. And then I came home, ate with my grandma, and hung out with her for a little while. And I am glad to say that luckily the seizure that my grandfather had yesterday doesn't seem to have caused any setbacks, but we are going to change our course of action for helping him in a way, although I'm not getting paid, which is really challenging. I at least can be here to help my family at home. So that all being said, I am trying to work on building out my website and whatnot after I finish this essay, so that way I can really go hard at trying to get more clients for my consulting business. So if you guys are at all interested in receiving one-on-one consulting for college admissions, undergraduate, and master's programs in the US and in the UK, then please go ahead and contact me. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video so I can edit it and get it up for you guys tomorrow. And I wanted to say one other quick thing. I know this video is probably getting very long, but I am in a position where I feel like I have some degree of certainty in my life. I know that I'm going to complete my Oxford degree, and I know that I am going to be able to go on to Yale somehow, but I understand that there are people out there that do not have that degree of certainty at all, that are losing their jobs and are facing significant hardships in their families and in their own health and their own mental health and their own care. So I want to acknowledge that, and if you guys ever need somebody to talk to, I am absolutely here for you. I am happy to provide some degree of entertainment with my YouTube videos, but if you guys just want to shoot me a message, I would love to hear from you guys. I'm happy to go on Instagram or YouTube Live more often if that's helpful for you guys. Let me know what I can do to help you. And my question of the week is, what is one thing that is helping you stay sane or productive? Have you learned something new? I know this is similar to the question I asked in my last vlog, but I wanted to see if there's anything that you guys are learning. Are you guys watching different types of YouTube videos? Are you watching TV shows that are new? I know that some people were watching that new TV show Tiger King on Netflix. Is that something you're getting into? Just leave me a comment down below. I'd love to see what you guys are up to and try to spread some positivity. And if you guys enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys are not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, because there's going to be a lot of fun content coming your way. And I am sticking to my upload schedule of Tuesdays and Fridays, so stick around for all my videos coming up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.
He started with hello on a summer afternoon. I lost myself and everybody else when I found you.